Hello, everyone. A very good afternoon. A very warm welcome to this exciting session by B School Buddies on the cracking consulting interviews. I'm thrilled to see so many of you today to explore the how to ace one of the most competitive career path in the management consulting. So let me quickly go through what we have in the in the store for you today. Over the next hour, we will dive deep into the consulting interview strategies, tips, and the real world insights shared by the someone who has been through it all and excelled. Also, we have a Q&A session at the end of the session. So now let's get to the a speaker of our session. It's my absolute honor to introduce our esteemed speaker, Miss Sheetal Kakkar. Sheetal is an exceptional achiever. She ranked first in her institute and is a proud gold medalist from his MBA. She recently completed her MBA from the prestigious Indian Institute of Foreign Trade, Delhi, graduating in 2024. And currently, Sheetal is working with one of the world's most renowned consulting firm, McKinsey and Company. It is a part of the elite big three in the consulting world. With her expertise and first-hand experience, Sheetal will share invaluable insights and how to prepare, strategize, and succeed in the consulting interviews. And this session will promises to be both inspiring and immensely practical. So once again, a warm welcome, Sheetal, and over to you. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Pushpak, for that wonderful introduction. Hi, everyone. Consulting in general is a very buzzword nowadays, but I will walk you through the process and what it took me to reach there. Also, the views that I'll be sharing are my personal opinions and do not reflect anything for the firms that I have worked with or have am currently working with. Just wanted to clarify that bit, and I'll just quickly share my screen and head into the world of consulting. Pushpak, just confirm once my screen is visible, please.
No, it's not visible.
Uh, I think so. Now it's visible, right?
Yes. Now it's visible.
Perfect. Also, folks, feel free to drop in your questions in the comment box. That will be helpful for me and Pushpak to navigate through. Awesome. So, how I have structured this session is I'll quickly walk through what is consulting, why I chose consulting, and we'll say a bit hi to consulting. We'll do a consulting 101, and then we can quickly deep dive into the frameworks, maybe picking up a guesstimate and follow through the question and answers. How I've structured the five realms that you see here is close to 5 to 6 minutes each. So we should be done with 35 minutes, and then we can head on to the dedicated Q&A session. So briefly starting with what is consulting, as you can see on my screen, there are four very clear words written: problem solving, structure, communication, and impact. I know these words seem very easy, very doable. However, each of them has very interesting nuance, and I will bring that nuance from the consulting lens and the experience that I've had so far. I'll start with problem solving. So, what you see on my screen right now, it's essentially the defined structure of solving any kind of problem, be it your personal life, professional life, if you're solving a Fortune 500 company's problem, or literally just navigating through how to make it to your college in time. So this is the five-step process established by one of the best known firms out there, the problem solving process. So the first step written here is identify the problem and the reason improvement is needed. So what I'll do is I will quote a real life example. I'll take a company problem and we'll do the five steps of problem solving in that sense. So, for example, how do I understand the root cause of a problem? Suppose a Fortune 500 company in the consumer segment has come to me and they want to increase their ultimate gross profit, or probably the net profit margin that they are earning. Now, in terms of how they'll identify the problem and the reason improvement is needed, is because they have understood that, in order to ensure that the company succeeds, there's a problem that, either the revenue is not increasing, or the cost has increased by an amount that they were not expecting, or, they are not operating as per the industry standards. Their competitors are earning more. So that is how they have identified, okay, something is wrong, and, this is something that needs to be solved for. Then coming on to the second step, that assessing the current state root, that underlying reasons why the problem exists. I know it seems like, yeah, this is something that is very basic, but literally breaking it down further. So for example, if I say that the consumer segment company has probably five major business segments or business divisions, how they will identify each segment and then deep dive into it. And if the Fortune 500 company example is going above your head, just consider that you have to make it to college in time. What can be the reasons that you get late to college? So, for example, if I have to break down my college schedule, A, waking up to make it to college, and B, my transportation, or the process that I use to reach to college. So if I'm able to identify two roots of problem, I can deep dive into one to solve for it and then eventually reach college in time. Now, the third step, that designing solutions, that you have to actually identify, evaluate, and select the potential solutions. So, for example, can I take out an innovative way for actually solving it? That probably just, join the online link of the class that is given to me and not actually reaching to college. So, this is something that is a renegade sort of thinking, out of the box thing, that okay, this solution also exists. However, coming to the original problem, to reaching in time, maybe I take an efficient mode of transportation, maybe I wake up early, or maybe I tie up with a friend who always reaches on time, so maybe I can carpool and reach there. So again, identifying the different types of solutions and designing. Then the fourth step it is actually testing these solutions. The listed solutions, I test them. If they fail, I come back, I introspect, and then I move on to the other solution. And finally, sustain, share, and continuously improve. So, how do you ensure that whatever capabilities or skill sets that you've built, or the process that you've established to solve the problem, how do you eventually succeed? So, the five steps that I've written here, they are the essential. We call it the problem solving toolkit sort of thing. So, if you're able to break a problem into these five things, you can actually solve any kind of problem in this world. I will take a pause here. I know few people are putting their questions in the chat box. Would just encourage, if there is any question related to the problem solving uh, step that we have just completed, will be helpful here. Also, if Pushpak or Prashant, if you can unmute and just ensure that whatever I'm saying is delivered fine. If you can just give me a confirmation that I'm audible and everything is going fine.
Shrital, everything is good. Your voice is completely fine. The screen is also visible. And I think aspirants are also asking questions. I think related to problem solving ability, there is no question. And I think we can take all the questions in the last if that is fine by you.
Sure, perfect, perfect. Works. Thanks, Prashant. That's helpful. Right, now I'll move on to the next slide. So I just wanted to cover the structure part. Problem solving is done. I wanted to show you how and what I mean by structure. So when I say structure, I wanted to show my life in a very structured format and make it MECE. So I am sure if you are sitting here in this session, you understand the meaning of MECE. I will also deep dive into it later. MECE is basically mutually exclusive and comprehensively exhaustive. That is, no two parts of your problem or whatever thing you are taking into consideration overlap, and you are at the same time comprehensively covering everything. So that is how I formulated my life in a very structured format. I ensured that I have written the graduation, basically the pre MBA experience in one part and the post MBA experience in the other part, also having a part, a thing called me life, which eventually runs through all four parts of my life, but also considering it as a separate part. So this is about my undergraduate undergraduation and internships that I've done. Then after undergraduation, the work experience that I have. Then I move on to my MBA life and my post MBA experience as a glimpse of my me life and the things that I like to do. So this is how a structure looks like in very simple language. I would encourage each one of you also to make your life in a very structured format to just understand structuring in general. I'll move ahead. These are just some experiences of my consulting life. Just wanted to give a glimpse here. Anyway, moving ahead, this was a very beautiful quote that I read in one of the consultants' posts. They've actually described who consultants are and what their aspirations sound like. So consultants are considered to be insecure overachievers, and that is why they have such enormous ambitions and desire to I mean, probably achieve whatever they want to. Just give me a second. Just one second. Um, folks, just 1 minute. Yep. So I was talking about consultants in general. So whatever quote is written on my screen, I would just suggest you to take a minute, read through it, and see if you can truly relate to it. If you can truly relate to it, I think so you are meant for the field of consulting. And if you're not able to relate to it, but you think this is your aspiration, would encourage you to explore this field because there is no learning that can happen as learning that can happen in the consulting domain. So two three things that you have to really ensure if you have to break into the field of consulting is a structure, that how you present yourself, how you present your thoughts, and b how you communicate that structure to the other person. I think so if you have the knack of doing these two things, getting into consulting sounds relatively doable. If you're not able to ace these two things, but you're very sorted in terms of how you solve problems in your head, I would encourage you to start practicing communication. Because if you're not able to communicate, no matter how good you are here, if this doesn't come through, nobody will understand what you're trying to say. And the best part about consulting is you just experience different fields, different industries, and the kind of different concepts. So it's beautiful out there. These are the three primary reasons why I chose consulting. It was because of the problem solving skill set. As you can see, the kind of immense exposure that you get when you meet new people, new industries, new clients, the level of understanding that these CXOs have for their business, that just startles you. That okay, this is what or where the firm is proceeding or the world is heading. The second reason being network. I think so you meet such smart people who inspire you on next level. I think so that is something that really excited me. And in terms of impact, so when you're solving a problem statement for the firms out there, you are actually doing some on ground work and you can see the impact coming to life. So, for example, if you have an intervention or an input, you can actually see the output that is coming through and you can understand the entire industry at a lens that is very unimaginable at a beginner stage, or someone who has just entered the field of consulting. So it is often said that spending 1 year in consulting is equivalent to spending 3 years in the industry, because the kind of rigor that you go through on a daily basis just expands your horizons and enriches you intellectually. So these were the three reasons why I chose consulting. Again, if you can relate to any two of them also, I would suggest or encourage you to go for it. Now, I just wanted to quickly touch on, consulting domain and the five, like consulting 101, that these are the five things that you should know as a consulting aspirant. Um, Definitely, we'll start from the first 5 points here, and then probably just move on to the consulting jargons written on the left hand side. These were just to give you a glimpse at why people use these words like circle back, drill down, or let's just quickly smell test this. Let's do a sanity check on the cases. So if you're practicing cases already, the left hand side three words would be very. I mean, you must have heard them. Now, moving on to the skill set of consultant. So, the first part being functional or business expertise. I would just suggest you here is that whatever degree that you are pursuing, try to have try to have at least one or two fields, or I would say subjects, that really excite you. Because if someone asks you, okay, be like, what do you like, or any particular industry that really excites you, you should be able to have a functional or a business expertise lens. This doesn't mean that you should have the knowledge of like some X level professional, but just like a good basic understanding of that particular field will be helpful. Second, your problem solving capabilities. I think so. The structuring and actually breaking down a problem are the two things that I'm talking here. And third, leadership and negotiation skills. So here I'm talking about the communication part. And if you have any leadership experiences, how do you demonstrate that? So, for example, if there is a crisis, how do you actually deal with it? Is reflected through your leadership and negotiation skills. Then coming to the second point, problem solving approach, this is exactly what we discussed in the 5 steps thing that, clarify, structure, analyze, conclude. The 5 steps cover all these 4 points written here. So that is how you actually problem solve. You must have seen that the case studies that you're trying to solve, you first ask clarifying questions. Then, after leveraging the knowledge that you get from the clarifying questions, you actually try to structure the problem. You make an issue tree sort of thing, then break it down further. Then using that issue tree, you actually analyze the root cause, or what you're solving for, and then you finally conclude that these are the insights that I'm getting, or this is how I would like to synthesize the case. So this is about the problem solving approach. Then coming on to the third part, the behavioral questions that are generally asked in a typical consulting interview. So I've written here personal impact and entrepreneurial drive. So see, consulting firms are interested in knowing that, what have you done in your personal life, and can you emulate that similar thing in the work that you pursue at the consulting firm? Because uh, the firms that you'll be working for, they are looking for long term and high impact. So so when they generally ask you, like, the impact that you've created in your personal life, you can talk about a challenging situation that you've encountered, or sometimes when you have an opposing view, how did you deal with that resistance. You can also explain how you demonstrate resilience. So that's how you talk about your personal impact. Talking about the second point, entrepreneurial drive. So entrepreneurial drive is something, should be an experience that, where you actually came out of your comfort zone, or applied your renegade thinking. Why entrepreneurial drive is, or talking about this is important in a consulting interview, is because literally every day when you are out there, you will face a situation that is completely out of your comfort zone, and you will be facing that with clients who have n years of experience in that particular field. So it is very important to have that drive in you, and something that you should reflect in your interviews as well. Now coming to the fourth point, which is the MECE concept that I've written here. So the mutually exclusive and the collectively exhaustive, the one that I talked about before, I'll give you an example ahead, and we can deep dive into that. And the final one being the pyramid principle. This is an essential part of the communication parts that you'll be doing. So pyramid principle is highly followed in consulting domains, because the people here have very limited time, especially the partners, or the managers that you're working with. They want you to start with the answer first, or the insight that you have gained. And if they want to deep down into it further, you can tell them that, what are the supporting arguments that support the answer or the insight that you have come up with. And you can group the supporting requirements, and you can, logically order the ideas that strengthen the proposition or the insight that you've come with. So for example, if someone asks me that, I remember I did some analysis of 1,000 points, and I came up with an insight that, probably the testing that we are doing with this certain application, it doesn't work because of this particular bug. Now, my partner was just interested in knowing that, the reason for that particular bug, why the particular bug is still incurring. But I started with that, I took the data from this place, there were 1,000 data points. I utilized this particular tool of Excel, did so many analysis. Then this was the insight first, but then when I double checked, this came as the insight two. Then when I tested insight two again, I realized that there was some error in insight one, etc., etc. And then finally told him that, okay, X is the reason why this bug occurs. But he was just interested in knowing that why X occurs. I mean, obviously, he would have cross questioned me that, okay, I think so. Probably this is not the reason. This is the reason. Did you test this as well? And then was the time that I would have probably, gone back and told that, okay, I did these processes. Then this proposition came, but when I tested it, it didn't work out. So the other part is only required when the partner wants to know. Sometimes it is that they already have everything in their head, the senior leadership, etc., that they just want to test it out. That, okay, if on ground reality is also this or not. So always try to follow the pyramid principle, and I would also suggest you to follow this principle in your general life as well, or just start practicing this. That give explanations or in-depth details only where required. If you feel that just by directly providing the answer, things are solved for, you should continue doing that. Saves a lot of time and effort, trust me. Anyway, moving ahead, this was consulting 101. Yeah, so I've taken this example to actually explain mutually exclusive and collectively exhaustive. We'll take a 30-second pause here and allow you all to absorb this slide. Right. So in this, what we are trying to do is we are trying to ensure that all the aspects of the market are covered. So if I go into the below part that is written that do customers like the company's product? Does the company have good sales level? Not exclusive topics overlap. So why the topics overlap here is because if the company would have had good I mean, the company would have had good sales if the customers like the products, right? Like they're interrelated. We are not talking about two independent reasons here. So just ensure that whenever you break down a problem, you do it from a lens that there is no overlap. If there is an overlap, just try to understand that how you can make it into two topics that do not have something in common. So this is broadly about the MECE concept. Maybe this can be leveraged more when we go to a problem that we are trying to solve for. Mm, oh yeah, this was again a very good example that what do you want to eat for dinner? So I actually find this very beautiful because this beautifully demonstrates the MECE concept that if you what do you want to have to for dinner, either you eat at your home or wherever you are staying, or you go out and have food. Now, when you're eating at home, do you cook your own food? Do you take out something that is already available, or actually do you go for a delivery option at home? And then if you're eating out, you're completely going out, and then they have broken down the entire food options into two categories. That either you're going for an Asian food or non-Asian food, and non-Asian food will cover everything, like your Chinese, Thai, or whatever you want to have. So that's how you break down everything further. And then even if you're cooking, are you cooking an Asian food or are you going for non-Asian food? And that is how they've done the MECE very beautifully. So this is a basic example that I always keep in mind while I try to solve for the problems that I face. Okay, so I will actually take a pause here. I have a guesstimate sort of thing, but I'm not too sure. Can we go with the questions, Pushpa, Prashant, if we have any?
Sure, sure, we can do that. Uh, just allow me a time to maybe show the questions.
Sure.
Okay, so this is just a hello from Pratham. So Pratham, hello will not work. I think you need to ask some questions so that we can answer. Yeah, there's another question that is, would reading case books like Rose and Wharton help? So maybe you can just suggest some case books which will help in preparing.
Right, right. Yeah, I'll actually take this question very in a very detailed manner because this was one thing that in my head. Firstly, folks, please understand that reading case books is never helpful, or probably I would just like to put it that only reading case books is not helpful. You need to just read the basic few introductory part, that how you actually proceed with problem solving or solving case interviews in general. And after that, case books should be used for practicing and not reading. Like, I don't think so you should be reading a case. You should find a case buddy and then just read the problem statement, leverage the understanding or the knowledge that you have gained by reading the initial pages of the case book, and then actually sit one is to one, like do a live interview and solve the case. Reading the case book will not at all help you. Also, Ross and Wharton are helpful if you're like maybe preparing for maybe an international MBA first and looking for jobs outside of India. If you're preparing for something where you are looking to work in India itself, I would suggest you to go for I'm Ahmedabad's case book. I think so. That was very, very exhaustive. Uh, and there's a book called Case Interviews Cracked. I think it's by IIT folks. So you can also refer to that. I just referred to these two case books and it was very exhaustive for me. Case Interviews Cracked again is extremely, extremely well structured, well put, and it can be leveraged by anyone from a beginner to an expert. So do give that book a read as well. And for practicing cases with your case buddies, I'm Ahmedabad is pretty well in terms of the way how they've structured the cases into different topics. So that again is very helpful. So those two cases you can for sure go for. Yeah, that's the answer to this. Prashant, we can go to the next
Yeah,
question if there's
I don't think there are any more questions. So guys, if you want to ask anything else, like otherwise we can I think move to Guesstimate that you wanted to show, and if there
sure,
will be any more questions, that will be answered in the later phase. So that is fine.
sure, sure, sure. I'll do that. I actually had a very simple guesstimate. I'll just share my screen again. Just give. Yeah, my screen is there again. So, folks, here there's a basic understanding of what guesstimates are. Like, it's an estimate based on knowledge, reasoning, facts, statistics, calculation, and some basic information. Now, what the consulting firms try to do when they give you a guesstimate is that they are trying to really understand that how you break down the problem that you have, how do you clarify the scope of the problem, how do you communicate that, how do you ask questions, and whatever information they are providing, how are you able to take in what is needed and discard the non-essential information. Basically, how you're assimilating the information that you're getting. So I think so. Your three key skills get tested in the first half of the guesstimate itself. That A, your structuring, B, your communication, and C, how you are analyzing everything and trying to synthesize what you're trying to do. So in guesstimates, there are few established approaches. So, for example, rural-urban split, gender split, internet penetration split, age split, income split. These are few known facts which you should be on your fingertips. So, will be grateful to. I mean, will be great to actually have these things on the top of your head. In terms of the envisioned outcomes, yeah. So after you actually solve the entire estimate, the ideal outcomes that should be that you're good with structuring the problems or putting your asks correctly. You're very comfortable with numbers, calculations. That okay, if they are throwing numbers at you, you don't get bogged down by them. And it's also a reflection of your commitment, practice, and exposure to industry. So that's why I say that the more you practice cases, the more you are better placed there. We'll do a practice question here. The question is very simple that you have to estimate the number of Zoom users in India post COVID. So maybe what I can do is I can take a minute's pause here. You folks can think about this and maybe just put in the chat box that what is the approach that you will take. So I shared few approaches here, right? So maybe you can just write down the first two, three approaches that you can take to solve this guesstimate, or maybe how you will structure the issue tree here. I see a few more questions. Okay, I think so. People are asking how. Okay, yeah, the approach is something that I will teach you while solving this. But just take a step back from a 30,000 feet. Just think about how you'll solve this problem. Oh, folks, you can put in the chat box if you have any idea. Else I'll explain how you should go about this problem. Right. So, see, very simple way to actually explore or estimate the number of Zoom users in India. The first thing that should come to your mind is, okay, we're talking about users. That means we're talking about population. We're talking about people. I don't think so. There is any other way that users can be interpreted, but still, you can clarify from the interviewer that okay, thanks for the problem statement. When I say Zoom users, I think so. We are talking about the Zoom app and not any other app. The Zoom app that we generally use for video conferencing. So the person who is interviewing you will either validate or disvalidate. If validate, great. You have to think about the video conferencing Zoom app. If they are not validating that, they will explain you what Zoom they are talking about. Maybe it's some other app in some other country dealing with maybe groceries or food items, etc. So it's very important to clarify what Zoom means here. Then in India is fine. Everybody knows about it post COVID. So do clarify that we are talking about an era where the pandemic has ended, and people have fairly adopted Zoom or the video conferencing in their daily life. So that means the adaptability is very high. People are comfortable using the online app. So just do a quick clarification of 1 or 2 minutes here. So in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, in these 10 words, you have ensured that you have clarified all of them and there is no ambiguity. It is very important that there is no ambiguity, because if there is ambiguity and you solve the entire problem, you're actually solving something that is not asked for. So do ensure that you take a minute or two to clarify this with the interviewer. Now, this is the framework which has just 2 to 3 splits that I was talking about. I was talking about how we started with the population. So we have split the population. We've taken 130 CR here. You can take 140 or a multiple that you are comfortable with. A lot of people take 120 also because it can be easily split into 4 parts. Again, your call based on your understanding. 130 CR is a good number to take. So you split the population into 2 parts, that is rural and urban. Now, why here rural and urban split is better before the eighth split is because you will be able to eliminate a large chunk of the population that is not using online tools or is not very fluent with internet or video conferencing. Like Bible ruler people use video conferencing because they are not working in the corporate, or maybe their students, I mean their kids are going to local schools, etc. So ensure that your first structuring is done in a way that your major population that is not relevant for you is eliminated, or your major user group is eliminated. So the gray out part means that the rural population is not using Zoom app. We focus on the urban population. Everybody should know for a fact that 30% of India's population is urban and 60-70% is rural. Some facts that you must learn and should know by heart. Then 30% of the population of 130 crores is 42 crores. But here we'll just round off simply ki 40 crores because it is then easy for me to break it down further. Now, the next split that has been used here is age demographics. Now, again, folks, you should think here that you can, okay, maybe if not age, can I first go by internet penetration, that okay, what the level of internet penetration that is there in urban areas, that can also be done. Here it is taken later because again of personal bias, and maybe first I'll eliminate people based on age and then move to the internet penetration wala part. कि okay, in kids also not everybody is using or has that internet penetration. I'll just take a percentage of it. So this, the age demographics and individuals using video conferencing can be split, etc. Internet penetration is also in some way covered in the rural urban split, but it's always good to mention it to the interviewer. Clarify if the interviewer says no, we can take that lens also, apply that. Otherwise, it's fine. Like you can proceed ahead. Just keep on aligning with whatever you are doing with the interviewer, so that if you go haywire, you are able to come back to the right problem that you want to solve for. Now here in the age demographics, four, no, three, five splits have been taken here. Again, this has been done very beautifully because they want to take a segment that is probably, school going, but also not actively using video conferencing. Maybe class 11 12 people are using it more, so that's why they've done 0 to 14 years, 15 to 25 years, 26 to 40, which is largely your corporate segment, and then 40 to 60 and 60 plus. Clearly eliminated 60 plus. So when I say clearly eliminated, that means you're sure that more than 90% of the people might not be using. There is a scope that some people are using. That's why we've taken a 5% lens here. So you've divided the 40 crores into 12, 8, 10, 8, 2. Like 0 to 14 has 30%, 15, 25, 20%, 26 to 40, 25, 40 to 60, 20, and 60 plus 5. Now, again, you can have a lens ki हाँ पर 30% क्यों है. Maybe you should have more in 26 to 40, considering it might be the corporate world, there might be young adults, etc. Again, another lens of explanation that you can get is that people post COVID have started going to the office. So some firms are also discouraging the use of Zoom app in general. So let's ensure that we get that nuance here. Again, align with your interview that I've taken these percentages. Do they seem fine to you? If not, you can quickly realign and change the percentages. Then individuals using video conference again is a percentage of the people who are actually eligible for using it. So in the first segment, 12 crores ka they have taken one fourth of it. In the 15-25, they are sure that 50% of the people might be using it. In 26 to 40, they've again taken a 15 percentage, 10 to 15 percentage, and then in the 8 crores one, again like 40-60 people, they've taken a very minute percentage, and then they have added everything to come at 2.3 cr, which is again a 20% market share, because people might also be using Google Meet, people might be using Microsoft Teams. So here you have to bring in the lens of the competitors or the video conferencing options or alternatives that a user might have. So that's why they've taken Zoom ka 20% share. Maybe the person has listed that, okay, I can imagine there are 4 or 5 top competitors and Zoom is also performing really well. So that's why I'll take a percentage of it. And so 4, 8, 9.5, 10.7 ka, they have taken a 20% lens here. And that's how you arrive at the final number of 2.3 CR. Now, this is how you generally solve a guesstimate. There is no perfect approach for solving it. It's just that you see that the entire process makes sense. Maybe this 2.3 CR number is not right, like in terms of number. But if I look at the approach, ठीक है, okay, logically this happens, and ठीक है, the number seems fine to me. So that is how you judge if you're solving a guesstimate rightly or not. That's about it in terms of a guesstimate. I'll take a pause here and maybe just look at the chat box. Prashant, if there's anything to add from your end, please do.
Approach for the solving estimates.
Yeah. Yeah, Pushpak is. I was just seeing one question that someone has written, that that person is from first year North Campus, Delhi, and passionate about finance, but also interested in what should I do. See, the best way to actually know that what you're truly passionate about and interested in and also capable of is by trying things. So would encourage you, since you're just in the first year, would encourage you to seek out for internship opportunities where you experience both the worlds and then maybe take a conscious call towards it, instead of just assuming that you are passionate about X and interested in Y. So get your hands dirty, go out there, do internships, meet people, talk to people, connect with relevant folks on LinkedIn, see their journeys, what they have done, how they've reached there. So that should be helpful for you. Uh, yeah. What should be the roadmap if I want a job in a consulting firm 3 years later? From where should I start? Uh, so there are generally two paths to start anything. First, that wherever you are, that place offers you that opportunity. And second, if the former doesn't offer you that opportunity, you go to the external things. It's either where you are internally or something that you want to go for externally. Now, if one is solved for, you just really need to prepare for interviews, ace the placement process. That's all, like build your profile, etc. But if you fall in the latter part in terms of your external thing, that you know how you'll figure it out, again, there are 2 to 3 sources that you can do that. Apply for off campus opportunities, get in touch with folks on LinkedIn who are working in those particular firms, or third, leverage your personal contacts. I know this sounds very easy, but while when you actually implement it is very difficult. But that is how the network thing really works. So, for example, if someone actually sends me a link that this is the profile that is there in your firm, this is my profile, I've applied to this is the referral ID, can you just ensure that you have referred it? So I do that, like folks like us do that. So if you're able to make the other person understand what you want out of them, things convert and everything falls into place. So that's how I would like to answer this. Prashant, I don't think so there are any more questions in the chat.
Yes, so guys, again, I think we were webinar is towards the end only. So, there are any questions? I think this is the ideal time to ask it. You will miss it, and Sheetal is here, so I don't think you will get another chance of asking her a question. Or for that matter, any MBB consultant will not come to you to answer your question. So I think that this is the right time if you need to ask. Sheetal, do you have anything else to cover, or was that it?
Yeah, I mean, broadly, I wanted to probably do a guesstimate, but I think so it's not an interactive thing. So maybe, I think so. I'll pause here. I just wanted to show these 2 slides for your
Yeah,
take
so
up.
I think maybe you can just go ahead because okay, there's I think one more. Okay, there are two, three more questions. I'm just showing those. Okay, so this is just a thank note. Then there is another question. Ma'am, can you kindly solve with another example when the demand and supply side constraints are considered for solving the guesstimates? So again, if you are Sheetal, if you are comfortable, you can share. Otherwise, yes, what we can do is maybe we will just put up a video with that type of guesstimate. Sheetal, if you want to take this question or tell anything, please.
Sure. I'm just thinking of an example where demand and side are involved. Okay. There's one thing that I can remember, and again, it's a very beautiful example. So, folks, I'll just considering that I'm based out of Delhi, so I'm just considering the example of Delhi Metro, because supply demand ekdam dimag mein aa gaya. So in Delhi Metro, I'll take a very famous metro station called Vishwavidyalaya, the Delhi University ka metro station. Now, here, if you have to estimate the number of people using Vishwavidyalaya metro station, how will you do that? Because here I see both demand and supply constraints coming into picture. So take a pause. Maybe if you Yash has asked this question, right? Yeah, Yash, if you have anything in mind how you'll deal with these two constraints, do you want to take a try at it? You have to estimate the number of people using Vishwavidyalaya metro station on a typical working day. We have eliminated the constraint of the metro station being operated on weekends. We have eliminated the constraint of any unusual day. It's a normal, typical college working day. Okay, these are other. Anyone can take a shot at this, please. I will definitely come to Peak hours morning 7 to 10. I mean, yeah, I mean, what is the first thing that should come to your mind in terms of estimating the number of people using it? Obviously, you'll divide the day into 3 or 4 slots that, this is the peak hour, this is the lean hour, maybe morning 7 to 10. Okay, 7 to 10 ले लो, 8 to 11 ले लो, दोपहर का ले लो and evening का ले लो. Evening में you will also have to account for the office people and in the morning as well. What is the first thing that should come to your mind? Will you go by population or will you go by some other bottleneck? Will you estimate the number of people living in that Vishwavidyalaya region or the number of people who can have that metro station accessible? How will you think about it? Anyone wants to take a shot? Okay, folks. So, what happens is when you get such questions, just try thinking of the bottleneck for that problem statement. So, for example, if I think about the metro station, I will just imagine the process that, okay, if a person comes, that person will enter the metro station, maybe buy a ticket, some have card, तो ठीक है इतना bottleneck नहीं है, किसी के पास card है तो direct checking counter पर चले जाएगा, like the security check that you have. And once that person crosses the security check, only then that person can put the metro, right? So here, if I imagine, probably security check is the bottleneck here, because if I have 1,000 people coming in that particular 1 hour or I mean whatever time we define it, security check will definitely be the bottleneck because that person will take at least 5 seconds to scan you through and then allow you to pass through that gate. So always in a problem statement, whenever there is demand supply ka constraint conflict, you're not able to understand ki should I approach the problem from a population lens or try to identify something in the process. Exactly, accessibility as Yash has defined it. So that is how you have to just imagine the process and think of the bottleneck. अब यहाँ पर security check is the bottleneck. तो मेरे को 5 seconds देना ही पड़ेगा that a person will take 5 seconds to scan you through and only then you can cross that particular barrier. And then you'll divide your okay, so 60 minutes में कितने लोग क्रॉस कर जाएंगे या 1 मिनट में 5 seconds है तो 60 seconds divided by 5, maybe 12 folks can pass through that particular gate. How many gates are there, then how many AFC gates are there? So that is how you will completely break down the problem further and further and further. Do this for one time zone, maybe take a normal day and then peak hours में उसको 3x कर देना and lean hours में उसको divided by 1 1.5 कर देना. 1 से तो कुछ नहीं होगा. So that is how you imagine the problem from both demand and supply constraint. I think इससे better example इसका I can't think of it right now. Perfect. I hope Yash that helps you and answers your question.
Still, there are some questions.
Sure. How was your
There is a
typical
question.
Monday morning? Yeah. So, folks, a typical Monday morning in the life of a consultant is generally taking a flight to the client site, which is a 7 a.m. or the 7:30 a.m. flight. I'm literally breaking it down so that you folks have everything answered. You reach the client place by 9:30, 10. You already have an agenda in mind because last week, say you have kuch key takeaways, a problem that you are solving for, and there are some key steps or next steps to be answered there. You can be working individually or with your seniors. Again, depends on the client side. You visit the client side, sit with the client for probably an hour or so, align on the deliverables for the coming week, identify something that is pressing, and then problem solve for it. So, for example, if I've identified that this is a deliverable that needs to be done by day after tomorrow, I'll actually plan it out with the client that how am I going to deliver that, what are the things that I have to activate for it, and how do I eventually close that thing. This usually happens at the client side. If you are doing something that requires field visits or going out in the market, you do that maybe till evening, till 4 5. Then you head back to your office or the hotel or the place that you are staying at. Again, work for some 3 4 hours again, depending on if you have any problem solving sessions with your partner, with your senior stakeholders or the client. Solve for it. Obviously, a lot of networking is happening, a lot of calls are happening. You are constantly engaged and like intellectually you're very stimulated because you know what you're solving for. And then you close the day. Again, depends. Generally, it's 12 to 14 hours, but depends how much fire is there on the client. But yeah, you generally close from by 9, and that's how a typical day sounds like in the life of consultant. Mondays are heavy because you are planning for the week, but yeah, otherwise things settle in well. Perfect. My maximum candidate guesstimates. What is the way to evaluate the best solution? So, see, when you do the sanity check as in, is this number making sense, or if this, so how, okay. So if I say India ka population is 10 crores, obviously this doesn't make sense, right? Matlab, I know this is a fact, but if you just see the scale of our country, or like whatever you know about India in general, 10 crore ka population will not make sense. So, I mean, I would just like to put this as that A, it is intuitive, B, it is based on just your general knowledge, and C, you can just see the process कि ठीक है मैंने इतना इतना break down कर दिया है. So if it is making sense, I think so that is the best way to evaluate if you're going in the right direction. There's no established way to do it. So yeah, uh, that's
There
about
is
it.
one more question
Hi,
from
ma'am.
Aray.
Yeah.
I am a final year student MBA real estate with background of hospitality looking to get into FMCG and hospitality consulting. Are there any good companies for these kinds of role?
Um, so I mean, yeah, there is. I mean, for FMCG and all of that, we have consumer industry in general. You can try for any consulting. If you're not coming with a particular pedigree, maybe your work experience can be helpful here. But yeah, like a lot of cases on in this industry in this field. So yeah, transitioning my career is currently pursuing from private college. Chosen finance and IT. Okay, very long question. Could you please guide me on the career opportunity? Financial engineering. Amit, sorry, I don't think so. I'll be the right person to guide you on the career opportunities in financial engineering. So, yeah, that's about it.
One more question.
Yeah, from there, how can they achieve a job in So see, folks, I know it's a very harsh fact, but like the big firms or the big three or the big four out there have a certain kind of requirement in terms of the pedigree that you're coming from. So if you're not coming from a particular pedigree or college, would suggest you to build in terms of work experience and then enter as a lateral hire. So that's the answer to it. There's nothing that I'm hiding here. So yeah. Perfect. Great, Yash. I just see one final question. That someone didn't know about the geography of Delhi. So, what do we do in these situations? So, two, three facts that firstly, you should know this fact. Second, if you don't know this fact, you can probably just mention that I know that, Delhi is the capital city, and, I'm not too sure if you're talking about New Delhi or Delhi NCR. You can just share the insights that you have about a particular place, and then maybe just ask the interviewer that, sorry, I'm not too sure about the population, but considering it's a metro city, maybe the population should be around X number or Y number. वो number बहुत off हो सकता है. That is okay. The interviewer is not concerned about that, but the interviewer is concerned about कि इसको कुछ idea है, तो कैसा idea है. Like, is that person trying to relate the two three facts that the person knows and then trying to come to a number, या randomly कुछ भी 50 crore बोल दिया कि दिल्ली की population है. तो ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. Just try to quote a number using the facts that you know. So that's about it. Perfect, awesome. I think so. You folks wanted to show this final screen.
Yes,
Sorry. Yeah, this one.
it is visible. So much, Sheetal, for providing us such valuable insights into what the companies seek into consultants, how we should approach to tackle the guesstimates, and also the like essential skills that required for a successful consulting career. And also, you have shared your experiences throughout your like a journey from the from graduation to working as a consultant, and also you gave the like comprehensive understanding of the consulting world. Uh, like uh, I will just explain something about the B School Buddies. We are the like a community of near about 13K students on LinkedIn. Also, we are running a different programs. Like we have a final placement preparation program where we provide like a one-to-one mentorship for the students who are preparing for the interviews, like a group GD. We daily arrange the group GD as well as the mock PI. Also on the weekends, we are organizing the different webinars on the specific topics. And rather than that, we are also have a group of like a case competition. The students who are preparing for the corporate case competition, we are also helping them by organizing the different webinars, and also like providing different decks, the winning decks. That's all about the like a B school buddies. And next slide please. Yes, if you want code and join our WhatsApp group for the more updates. And once again, on the behalf of the school buddies and everyone here present today, I extend our like a heartfelt gratitude to the Sheetal for sharing her valuable insights and also the strategies with us. Also, your journey and expertise has truly inspired, and that surely help the every students that watch that present today for this webinar. And thank you so much for your valuable time today.
Right. Thanks, Pushpak. Thanks, Prashant. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.